What have you been telling other college presidents if they've come to you for advice, or what would you tell them if they don't have that same sort of rooted culture in being able to have difficult conversations?
Yeah,
What could you do as a leader to help that?
yeah. Only one college president has actually come to me for advice. Um, who has been in this moment, and my advice to them has been a couple of things, and I think you can look at some of the choices, for example, made by President McGill at Penn, and see where my advice would have gone in a different direction. One, um, don't be afraid to meet with your opposition. Um, you know, because part of what we have to do in this moment is humanize each other. And I think it makes a difference if, someone who's on the other side of an issue with me sits down and we talk together so that we no longer simply become objects to each other who represent different sides of an issue, but we become human beings who may experience an issue differently, or human beings who may agree on the crux of the issue, but disagree on how we approach it.
Hmm.
So I think that, the worst mistake a president can make is to sort of wall themselves off from the voices that are being critical,
Hmm.
even if it means at times walking into situations that may start out with you being booed or with people, yelling at you. But the fact that you're willing to engage people, I think, just brings to people's consciousness that you're a human being who cares about the issues as much as they do. You just may be on a different side of it. One. Two, uh, is these moments really do test the um, practicality of the policies that we have in place. So each of these schools had policies about harassment um, and conduct, but the fact that none of the presidents could unequivocally answer the question about if someone, called for the genocide of a particular group, would that be in violation of your policy? That means that the policies may not have had a practical relevance when really tested.
Hmm.
And we've got to look at that so that we can say to people where the line is. And the answer can't always be, it depends on the context. That basically means we don't have an answer, right? And that's important because it also allows us to be fair to our students, right? Uh, if our policy is very clear and says a statement that calls for violence against another group or individual violates our standards for free speech and conduct, then if that student throws that bomb and says, let's lynch the blacks, or let's, genocide against the Jews, when that student is brought up for conduct, it's very clear that that was not free speech. That was an incitement of violence against a group. And these policies that many schools have created, actually, from a practical standpoint, what's in bounds and what's out of bounds, it's pretty hard to know.
Hmm.
And it becomes more complicated in this world of social media,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, how so?
Uh, yeah.
How so with the social media aspect that you think that complicates things?
Well, social media is all about language. So, when I'm on social media and I'm saying things like, lynch the blacks or genocide the Jews, I'm using social media at the height of its ability to incite violence. But it's about speech. I'm not, physically attacking a person who is a member of a group. So by legal standards, I am not committing a hate crime. But by the standards of my institution of higher education, my college, my university, am I committing a crime or an act that violates, the standards of acceptable community conduct? I should know that.
Yeah.
So that when sanctions are brought against me, they're not arbitrary.